Hello, I'm Henry Baldwin. I play with the London Philharmonic Orchestra here in the UK, and today I'm just going to share a few basic thoughts for any students watching on how to apply your snare drum technique in the orchestra. I'll be using my brand new 25th anniversary Black Swamp snare drum. I'm loving this drum. I cannot wait to get it into the orchestra. It sounds spectacular, and I'm also very pleased with the new configuration for the multi-sonic snare system. It gives fantastic sensitivity right up to the edge of the drum, and particularly in combination with these Kentville kangaroo hide heads. I'm sure many of you already have fantastic snare drum technique and can play some of the most technically demanding snare drum studies around and know your orchestral excerpts like the back of your hand. But I remember when I first started playing in orchestra professionally, a colleague said something which really struck a chord with me, and that's that 95% of the time in the orchestra, you're actually playing very, very simple music, and the art of being a really good orchestral player is to make music and really bring those very simple basic concepts to life in a very professional way. So with that in mind, the concepts I'm going to talk to you about today are very basic ones actually. So I'm just going to start with one of the most basic and common rhythms that you see written for the snare drum in the orchestra, and that is a quaver followed by two semiquavers, or an eighth note followed by two 16th notes repeated. So you see this in Prokofiev, Shostakovich, Elgar, too many composers to name. Now this rhythm, it would be very easy to, every time you see that on the page, just have a go-to sticking that you use without even thinking about it. But I would say that you have an opportunity there to really think musically, think about who you're playing that rhythm with, and how those members of the orchestra are articulating. If they're woodwind or brass, are they using single or double tonguing? How is it accented? How is it phrased? There are so many kind of micro adjustments that you can make. So going back to seeing that rhythm written on the page, I would say that there are four stickings that I regularly or semi-regularly use that are different and give slightly different feels. So I'll just take you through those. Firstly, maybe the most obvious one, hand to hand. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Now that rhythm, that sticking gives a very kind of relaxed, open feel. Now, if I change that slightly, I tend to lead with my right, so I'm going to do this as a kind of a right-handed person, but obviously you can do it all with the left. If I change that now to right, right, left, right, like that, it immediately has a more kind of tense, rigid, militaristic sound. Then I could go to doing a double left for the 16th notes or the semiquavers, like that. Now that gives you an opportunity to make a huge dynamic contrast between the 16th notes and the main quaver note, which is on the beat, so you can really accent that note without affecting the semiquavers, 16th notes. And conversely, we can do a slightly different sticking, which is right, left, right, right. Which means that you can really accent the first of the 16th notes as well. So there are four different stickings that give a completely different feel to that rhythm. So next time you see that rhythm, and of course you can apply this to other rhythms as well, just have a think about what sticking you're using and why you're using it, and really try and analyze that so that you're making the best musical decisions you can. Moving on from using different stickings to affect the sound and the feel of rhythms that you might be playing in the orchestra, let's now apply that concept to grace notes, and specifically the 4-stroke ruff. I think it's very important in the orchestra to be able to vary the style of your 4-stroke ruff. It doesn't matter how good you are at doing it in one particular way with one particular sticking, that is limiting you in terms of creating different colours in the orchestra. So I'll just very quickly take you through. So there are three ways, I think, obvious ways that you can change the colour and feel of a ruff. Firstly, the length of it. So are you going to do it very open, or are you going to do it very crushed, close together? Then the dynamic variation. So you're going to get louder going towards the main notes. Is it going to be very even, or are you going to, it's rare that this is appropriate, but there are a few moments in the repertoire where it's appropriate to start loudly and come away to the main note. So the main note is actually quieter than the grace notes. And then the last way, of course, is which sticking you use. And of course, you might think, well, if I can do whatever I want with the first two options, it doesn't matter what sticking I'm using. There's an argument to say that. But of course, what the sticking is doing, changing the sticking is doing, is it's giving you different options that may feel more comfortable. So something that is slow and really ripping up to that main beat, it might feel more comfortable doing that as single sticking or as a right, left, right or something than doing a different sticking. So you're giving yourself options. If you work on the different stickings as much as the one that you normally use, so you feel comfortable using them, it gives you lots of different options to change the colour and feel comfortable. So I'll just take you through the 4 stickings that I use fairly regularly, 2 very regularly and the other 2 less so, but I still do use them from time to time. The 4 stickings I might use in the orchestra. So firstly, the most common one is right, left, right. Remember, of course, you can do all of these reversed if you want to end on your left hand. But here we go, right, left, right. And then hand to hand, left, right. Then right, left, right. And then left, right. Now that last one is a particularly good example of something. I don't use it very often, but there's a very specific way that it's useful, and that's when I'm playing maybe in the quieter dynamics, repeated 4-stroke ruffs, and I want them to be quite open and they come thick and fast. That rhythm, that sticking, just it kind of rolls off the hands very easily. So that's a perfect example of how a sticking can give you the option of creating a different sound. And I guarantee if you try and do that playing right, left, right, it's much harder to get that open sound at that speed. So there we go. That's another way to use different stickings to change the colour in the orchestra.